Hi, my name's Elizabeth Rimmer and I'm founder for EntrepreNurse. Welcome to my Wednesday live, and today, tonight, this evening, the topic is Ask Me Anything. So I have been promoting this live for the past week, and I've been asking you guys out there just to send me some messages, anything that you wanted to know. Maybe you don't want everyone else to know who you are, and just any aspect of kind of business, nursing, whatever. So what we're going to do is just literally work through these questions. If anything kind of crops up, please feel free to question or comment, and let's see if I can answer these questions. Right, no pressure. Okay, so the first on the list was why aesthetics, and so my business is aesthetics, and this one cropped up quite early. I've thought about this one. So I think actually there was a few kind of things that crossed my mind when my mind started to wander into the business kind of arena. When I was quite early into general practice, I'd say, I had a Saturday job. So I did general practice, and then on a Saturday I worked in a small independent travel vaccination business. And when I started doing that, I kind of thought to myself, I could do something like this. It's, that's doable. So that, I think, was probably the first time I kind of thought, like, why don't I do this? Why am I working for someone else? And that was, so it's just a little, really small clinic, and just like you do in general practice, people coming in with their itinerary, and you kind of work out what their vaccines are, administer them, give them their health advice, off they go. So that kind of crossed my mind. I also, I think a bit later on, did a little bit of extracurricular work again for a company that does health screening stuff for corporates. So like the kind of businesses that when they put on health fairs and stuff for their employees, and you get to go in and have a little health check. So it'd be really basic stuff. You'd have like 20 minutes per employee. I'd get there with my little kit. You'd have 20 minutes per employee, and you would just like check their blood pressure, their height, their weight, finger prick for cholesterol, talk to them a little bit about their family history, that kind of thing, and then just give them a brief summary of all your findings, a little bit of health advice, and sent them on their way. And that, I kind of thought, I could do this. And then aesthetics, I think, and I've spoken about this before, I think probably, if I'm honest, at least in part because it is the most visible nursing business out there in the UK. I do, and always have, kind of been into like sort of fashion and fitness, and so I suppose a degree of sort of vanity, for want of a better word, in that, which made aesthetics kind of appealing. As Shelley joked last week, the idea of getting cheap Botox, so yeah, that kind of wasn't something that was completely alien. It kind of appealed on lots of different levels. But I do think there was definitely an element of thinking, okay, this is tried and tested. Lots of nurses out there are doing it, so it must be very doable. So yeah, a bit of that, and a bit of kind of natural interest in that kind of arena, I would say. So next question I have was, do I need a website, or is social media enough? So this really, I would say it depends on what you're doing. I think social media is a really good place to start, and I've talked before about, especially if you're not kind of even certain what you're going to do, I think things like setting up a page which perhaps like has a kind of focus in whatever your area of interest is, can be a really good way of attracting interest and attention, getting a bit of an audience, engaging people. It's interactive, you can put a little piece of you out there. And let's face it, people spend their lives on social media, especially at the moment. So I do think that social media is really, really, really important. I guess for me, having a website, my personal view on that is, I suppose I think it adds a level of professionalism. In my view. So I think if you are offering a service, and again, it does depend what you're doing, but if you're offering a service, for example, I would rather see a website, because I think it adds, I don't know, it validates somehow. I know when people are kind of selling crafts and things like that, or products, they might just rely on social media. But for me, like I say, I think it really depends on what you're doing. But I do think a website adds a kind of level of professionalism. It doesn't need to be, really fancy. It doesn't need to have loads of pages. But my feeling is people still look for that, especially if you're looking to kind of offer a sort of a nursing type service. So social media is a good place to start. It's a great place to pump stuff out, but I think a website can be helpful to make you look more professional. This one I put next because it kind of ties in, how do social media algorithms work? So if you don't know what social media algorithms are, just to start by telling you that basically that just means it's information with how platforms like Facebook and Instagram will, and Google will kind of list your presence, if you like. So there are loads of kind of tips and tricks that you can use on social media, on your website, to make it more findable, make your information more accessible, so that when people are looking for information via any of those platforms, you will come up, or your services will come up. So that's what algorithms are. How do they work? Well, I don't have a clue. I can answer that very quickly. So it's a really, really complex subject. As far as my understanding is, the algorithms change all the time. So keeping up with them is not easy. And that tells you why there are businesses specifically based on just optimizing your website, optimizing your social media, because it's a subject all in itself. What I would say about it is that content is kind of king, if you like. So that means that if you have got a Facebook page or an Instagram page, posting stuff out there frequently, consistently is really important. And Google likes new content on websites, so the way that you would get around that is to have a kind of a blog page, so that you can use that to kind of add new content all the time. And yeah, with your Facebook and Instagram, it's just kind of posting content frequently, regularly, consistently. And the other thing that seems to be a good thing to do is the use of video. So Google likes video, and as do Instagram and Facebook. So short videos are another really kind of helpful way to get your services or yourself, whatever you're trying to promote, up there. And lives, like I'm doing now, even better, even more so. So again, lives work really well with these mysterious algorithms to kind of get you more findable, more accessible. But it's all a bit of a mystery. So yeah, I would just say consistency, frequency, video, and you can replicate information and content across all the different channels if you're on platforms, to kind of limit or minimize the workload, because otherwise you could actually spend your entire time just basically producing content.